Hey everyone, welcome back to my reviews of the Santa Claus Show on Disney Plus. Today we're going to be talking about episode 3. So if you have not seen the episode and you want to check it out, go check it out because we will be addressing all spoilers in this review. Let's just jump into it. Just like all my past reviews, I'm going to be addressing the nice, which is the stuff I like in the show, the naughty, the stuff that I don't really like in the show, and we're going to be doing a Bernard watch. And I know we both know Bernard wasn't in the episode. Okay, we can just address it right now. But I'm still going to do the Bernard watch. At this point, it's more of like a cameo watch, but I want Bernard to be mentioned in every episode. So I'm not changing the name of the Bernard watch. It's going to be the Bernard watch until the day I die. So let's start off with the nice. I still think everything with Magnus Antis is very solid. I don't think he was as good in this episode as the past two episodes, but I still think his storyline is the most interesting thing this show has going for it. And I'm very excited to see where his character goes with now reobtaining his magic and going to the North Pole. And with Magnus Antis obtaining the power, it's going to be very interesting how this show navigates the next episode. I would not be surprised if episode 4 is very much an interlude about Betty and Cribble Crabble, because I don't think it makes sense to jump immediately to Magnus Antis in episode 4 being in the North Pole. It just feels like it's happening way too fast. And that feels like way more of a episode 5 thing to happen. So basically like episode 4, interlude with Betty at Cribble Crabble. Episode 5, Magnus Antis makes it to the North Pole. Probably at the end of that episode, something bad happens. Our heroes are at their lowest. And then episode 6 is obviously the finale and something big happens. That's how I'm seeing the story going. I don't know. It might do something different. That's just where I'm seeing it going at this point. It was also great to see the Easter Bunny back in this franchise. Obviously, Jay Thomas, who originally played the Easter Bunny in Santa Claus 2 and 3, passed away in 2017, so they had to recast it with Tracy Morgan, who I think was an excellent pick. I just feel like he has one too many prosthetics on. Just feels like he's having a hard time talking through all those prosthetics. That's the only thing. Other than that, I thought Tracy was really, really good in this role. But nonetheless, having the Easter Bunny back in this franchise makes me very excited for the next few legendary figures to show up. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Easter Bunny turning into an actual bunny maybe alerts the other legendary figures to maybe go check on the North Pole. Seems like a lot of stuff is happening there. Maybe just go check it out. I don't know. But going forward with legendary figures and Magnus Antis, one thing that I would really like to specifically see with Magnus Antis in these next few episodes is I don't want him to go through a crazy character arc. I feel like this show is in dire need of just a straight up villain. And I don't want this dude to become good at the end. I don't know. I get it. Okay. I get it. It's a kid show, and that's probably what's going to happen. But I really, really would like to see him just be a bad guy, and all of these legendary figures and all of our fan favorite characters have to come and join together and take out Magnus Antis at the end. That's how I want this show to go. I don't know if it will, but that's the direction I would like it to go. Let Magnus Antis be a bad guy. Don't give him this huge character arc where he becomes a good guy like Jack Frost. Just let him be a villain. And let's take him out with all the legendary figures. And listen, maybe we can have Charlie come back. And maybe, just maybe, we could have an elf come back. Maybe someone named Bernard who could defeat Magnus Antis. And maybe he could put on a coat and become Santa Claus. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point, but that's the direction I would like to see this show go. Magnus Antis villain, Bernard saves the day, becomes Santa. That kind of stuff. Just the normal stuff. And also, with Magnus Antis getting his powers back, make him super overpowered. That's what I want. I want him to just freaking wipe out people. Make him super powerful. I know they're not going to do this because it's not going to be a super violent show, but make him super powerful. If he's going to be bad Santa, let him be bad Santa. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm asking for very little. I'm asking for basically a whole arc where Bernard becomes the hero of this show, even though I know he's not going to be in the show. And I just want Bad Santa to be Bad Santa. I feel like I am not asking for a lot. Moving on from the legendary figures and Magnus Antis and Bernard, those aren't the only things I care about in this show. Obviously, they're at the top of the list, but they're not the only thing. I also really like what they are doing with Carol's character. It's a little generic, but I really like the angle of her being the only one in the Claus family that doesn't have any powers, and I hope they pay it off in some way, whether that means that she gets her own special powers or realizes that she doesn't need any special powers. I also really enjoyed Santa and Cal's relationship in this episode. It's by no means amazing, but I love that it continues to reiterate the fact that Tim Allen can only play one type of character, which is a deadbeat dad. I can't even be mad at it. Tim Allen knows what he's good at. He's great at playing the deadbeat dad, and that's just what he's done for his entire life. I respect it. All right, now that I've addressed the nice stuff in this episode, and there are plenty of more nice things in this episode, I'm just trying to give you like a stream of consciousness of the things that I am enjoying in this show. I don't need to give you a plot synopsis. You're watching the show. That would just be boring. I'm just trying to give you what I'm thinking during these moments. So there's plenty more nice in this show, and I probably will address that in the future in some way or another. But for right now, let's go on and move on to the naughty. I don't really know how else to say this, but I am just not connecting with Cal or Sandra as characters at all. And this is in no way an indictment on their acting or their performances. I think they are doing a fine job with the material they're given. They just feel like major plot devices in this show, basically to get from point A to point B, which kind of sucks. It just feels like the creators wanted to do a bunch of new stuff this season, which I'm all down for, doing new stuff and trying new stuff out. But at the same time, it feels like there's this weight from season one of the characters you established and the plots you established that are weighing down the second season, and they don't really know how to shake it off because it feels like they want to give everyone a moment. And it's just not really working for me. I'm staying optimistic, and I hope it improves, and I hope things get a little bit more slimmed down and they kind of cut off some of the fat from the show, but I just don't know. And one other thing that's been kind of bothering me this season, and more specifically in this episode, and this is completely a personal thing, is we have so many scenes where two characters just say the same word or the same phrase back and forth to each other like 8 times. And this is funny, like the first time where it's like, oh, they don't understand it. But it's happened like 4 times this season. And it just feels like they're trying to fill out these scenes because they just don't have enough dialogue. It just feels lazy. The writing feels lazy in those moments. I don't know. This is a personal preference. It's just getting annoying, and I hope they don't keep doing it. But I know they will, because Magnus Antis, it's like his whole shtick right now, so it will happen again. Overall, I felt like this episode was very much filler, which is completely okay. I felt like episode 3 of season 1 was also filler. I just don't really see this show picking back up until the end of next episode. It just always feels like these 2 middle episodes don't really move the plot that much forward. They just feel like filler. I hope I'm wrong, but that just seems like where we're going with the show. But it could definitely go in a different direction. All right, now that I've addressed the naughty and the stuff that I don't really like in the show, let's move on to our Bernard watch. So obviously there was no Bernard in this episode. If you are an anti-Bernard person, go ahead and leave a comment saying like, you idiot, stop waiting for Bernard to show up. He's never showing up. Go ahead and leave that comment. I don't care. I understand. There was no Bernard this episode. Why do I even have a Bernard watch? But even though Bernard didn't show up in this episode, everyone's second favorite elf, obviously second favorite elf, because who's going to be your second favorite elf besides this elf? Curtis? No. Everyone's second favorite elf, Judy, showed up in this episode. Well, more specifically, Paige Tamada showed up, who was making coffee for Magnus Antis. She made a cameo, and we don't know if it's Judy or not. I paid very close attention to her ears. They're kind of covered up at the top, so it could be Judy, or she could just be making a cameo. Either way, it's very cool that she showed up. And also, huge shout out to the Discord, and more specifically to Angelina, who's in our Discord, for making me aware that Judy was in this episode. Because if she didn't say anything, I don't think I would have known that Paige Tamada was in this episode. I literally had to go back to the Discord and be like, where did you see Judy in this episode? I have no idea where this happened. And then it ended up just being the most obvious place. She's making hot cocoa like she used to. I feel stupid. I should have noticed it. And yeah, I'm an amateur. That's what I'm discovering. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you could throw it a like, I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below of your thoughts of the season so far, any theories you have, any ideas you have going forward. I would love to read them. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next review goes up. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for episode 4.